Have you ever felt like you're drowning in life's challenges, unable to see a way out? Imagine standing in the middle of a relentless storm, the rain beating down, the wind howling, and darkness all around. That's what life can feel like sometimes. But what if I told you that every storm, no matter how fierce, eventually passes? In today's story, we'll dive into what it means to hold on to hope in the face of life's storms. You'll see how a single spark of hope can grow, how it can guide you through even the darkest moments. By the end of this video, you'll understand why hope isn't just a passive feeling. It's an active force that can change everything. So, stay with me until the end, because this story might just give you the strength you need to face whatever storm you're battling right now. This is the story of Sarah. She was a single mother, living in a small, run-down apartment with her young son, Jake. Life had always been a struggle, but Sarah had managed to keep going, finding odd jobs to make ends meet. Then, just weeks before Christmas, the unexpected happened. She lost her job. Bills started piling up. The fridge grew emptier each day, and the festive lights in her neighborhood only reminded her of what she couldn't give Jake this year. Every evening, she sat at the kitchen table with her head in her hands, wondering how she'd make it through another day. The weight of it all pressed down on her like an invisible burden, stealing the smile that used to light up her face. To make things worse, Sarah had no one to turn to. Her family lived far away, and most of her friends were busy with their own lives. She felt utterly alone, as though the world had moved on without her. Each night, as she tucked Jake into bed, she promised him everything would be okay. But deep down, she wasn't so sure. The days dragged on, each one a repeat of the last. Sarah applied for jobs, walked miles to interviews, and waited for callbacks that never came. It was as if the world had closed its doors on her. She began to wonder if her efforts even mattered. Why keep trying when nothing seemed to work? The thought of giving up crossed her mind more than once. But sometimes, hope arrives when you least expect it. And for Sarah, it came in the form of a simple piece of paper. One cold afternoon, while walking home from yet another failed interview, she noticed a brightly colored flyer taped to a lamppost. It read, "Free career counseling and resume assistance, every Friday at the community center." Sarah almost ignored it, brushing it off as just another empty promise. But something made her stop. Maybe it was the word free, or the fact that she had nothing left to lose. Whatever it was, she tore the flyer off the pole and stuffed it into her pocket. It was a small thing, a tiny flicker of hope, but it was enough to get her through that day. And sometimes, that's all you need. One small reason to keep going, one little spark to remind you that the storm doesn't last forever. Little did Sarah know, that single moment would change everything. The following Friday, Sarah found herself standing outside the community center, the flyer still crumpled in her hand. She hesitated at the door, her heart pounding. Doubts swirled in her mind. What if they couldn't help her? What if she was wasting her time? For a moment, she thought about turning around and walking away. But then she remembered Jake's face, the way his eyes lit up when he talked about Christmas. She couldn't give up, not for his sake. Taking a deep breath, Sarah stepped inside. The room was small and buzzing with quiet activity. A few people sat at tables, reviewing resumes or typing on laptops. A friendly-looking woman with glasses and a clipboard approached Sarah and introduced herself as Margaret, one of the volunteers. Margaret asked Sarah about her work experience, her goals, and her struggles. It felt strange at first, opening up to a stranger, but Margaret's warmth made it easier. Margaret didn't just listen, she understood. She pointed out strengths in Sarah's experience that Sarah had overlooked. "You've been managing tight budgets, solving problems, and staying organized. Do you realize how valuable those skills are?" Margaret asked with a smile. For the first time in weeks, Sarah felt a glimmer of confidence. She wasn't just a single mother struggling to get by. She was capable, resourceful, and determined. By the end of the session, Sarah walked out with a polished resume, a list of job leads, and a renewed sense of purpose. It wasn't much, but it was a start. And for Sarah, that small step felt monumental. In the days that followed, Sarah began applying for jobs with a new sense of determination. She followed up on the leads Margaret had given her, and even started attending free workshops at the community center. It wasn't easy. Rejection still came, and the bills didn't magically disappear. But Sarah kept going. Each day, she reminded herself of the promise she had made to Jake. She started to notice small victories, a positive response to her application here, a second interview there. With each step forward, her hope grew stronger. She realized that while the challenges were still there, she didn't feel as weighed down by them. Then, just a week before Christmas, Sarah got the call she had been waiting for, a job offer. It wasn't her dream job, but it was enough to keep her and Jake afloat. As she hung up the phone, tears filled her eyes. But this time, they weren't tears of despair. They were tears of relief and gratitude. Christmas morning arrived, and Sarah woke up early to prepare a simple but heartfelt celebration for Jake. The decorations were modest, paper snowflakes they had made together, and a small, second-hand tree she had found at a thrift store. But as Jake ran into the living room, his face lit up with pure joy. For the first time in weeks, Sarah felt like she could breathe again. As they sat together, unwrapping the few gifts she had managed to buy, Sarah realized something profound. The gifts, the tree, the decorations, they weren't what mattered most. What truly mattered was the journey she had taken to get here, the strength she had found in herself, and the hope that had kept her going, even when everything felt impossible. That small spark of hope, the flyer on the lamppost, had led her to a job, a community, and most importantly, a renewed belief in herself. It hadn't been easy. There were moments when she wanted to give up, but every small step, every little effort, had added up to something bigger than she could have imagined. As Sarah looked at Jake's smiling face, she thought about all the people out there who might be facing their own storms, people who might feel as lost and hopeless as she once did. And she wished she could tell them what she had learned. That hope isn't about knowing the path ahead. It's about believing that somehow you'll find your way. So, what can we take from Sarah's story? Life will always have its storms. There will be moments when it feels like the rain will never stop. But hope is the light that guides us through. It's not just a feeling, it's a choice to keep moving forward, even when the road seems unclear. And remember, it doesn't take much to spark that hope. Sometimes, it's a kind word, a helping hand, or even a simple flyer taped to a lamppost. Whatever it is, hold on to it, because even the smallest flicker of hope can lead to a brighter tomorrow. Now, it's your turn. What's one small thing you can do today to keep hope alive in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. After all, hope is contagious, and you never know who might need to hear your story.